What's going on, everyone? My name is Scott. Welcome back to the Red Cedar Podcast. Today, you know by the title of this video, we're diving in to Michigan State versus Michigan, 9 o'clock on Peacock at the Breslin Center in East Lansing. This one has a different feel to it, though. In definitely probably my at least lifetime of fandom, and probably in the last, 15 or so years, probably since John Beilein took over the Michigan program. Uh, this one has a different feel to it. Both teams are are having a tough year. They are struggling coming in. Michigan State a little bit less than Michigan on the other side. It's been a rough year for them. But compared to expectations, it has been a rough year for Michigan State as well. Came in, obviously, a top 5 preseason ranked team. And as we've talked about over the past couple weeks, obviously, right now sitting at 12-8, 4-5 in the conference. Definitely not where they thought they would be coming into this late January game against their rivals down the road. MSU, as we talked about last week, had a big game on Friday night at Wisconsin, and frankly, they didn't show up. All starts with, which has been the case for pretty much every loss, or that's not even a bad loss. That's still a quad 1 loss versus a top 15 ranked team on the road. So obviously that'll look okay on your resume. But Michigan State just hasn't been winning these games the last couple years in which we've been accustomed to them winning. They just got completely out-toughed on the glass again, which is unfortunately been the case the last couple years, if you would have said that, 7-10 years ago, that a Tom Izzo team would be getting out-toughed on the glass or on the defensive end at all, would have said you were crazy. But that's the unfortunate reality. Out-toughed on the glass again, losing that 25-35 to Wisconsin. AJ had a nice game. He got to the basket well, scoring 19 and adding 4 assists. He was really aggressive, which we need to see. We need an aggressive AJ, and I believe we will in this game as well. Malik was solid with 13, but didn't have his normal impact on the boards or operating in the post and kicking out in terms of assists. Tyson, another tough shooting night. You don't put any of this on Tyson. I don't. He's carried this team for the bulk of the season. We're about halfway through Big Ten play, and obviously had non-con too. So we're over halfway through the season in totality, and he's carried the load the whole way. But he's had a couple rough shooting games. But other guys need to step up. It's just plain and simple. But it seemed like Tyson never really got in rhythm. He had a couple points there in the second half where it seems like he was maybe starting to get it going, but just dug a huge hole that was never able to get out of, and that's just been the story the last couple years. You get down in the first half, you get punched in the mouth, you come out the second half, come all the way back or tie it, take the lead, whatever, but then just aren't able to finish it in the later stages. Even though Michigan State has won quite a bit of close games, but just not able to finish it at the end and get back over that hump, able to make some runs, but just not able to get it done. Defensively, A.J. Storr for Wisconsin was just able to do whatever he wanted. He was hitting, seems like every 3 he shot was going in. He was getting good action out of the post. A couple times we saw going into a media timeout, AJ yelling at Maddie for coming over and doubling him. And then, they had a lot of that where they were doubling some in the post and they were just finding a nice backdoor on the opposite side of the basket. But that's unfortunate, and unfortunately we've saw it a lot in the last couple of years, just constant defensive lapses, especially on the low block. Not even just putting that on the centers, but other guys that rotate down there as well. Some of the forwards, defensive lapses, specifically against Crowell and Wall for Wisconsin. They just had their way down there. Looking at Michigan this year, dumpster fire for lack of a better term. I can't say that I'm overly upset about that, obviously, as a rival fan, but it has just been an interesting year over there. Started the season okay, winning 4 of 6, But in the next 14 games, they've gone 3-11. Not to mention their star, their best player, Doug McDaniel, was recently suspended for games played away from Ann Arbor. I believe it was 6 games, they said, so 6 away games, but he's allowed to play the home games. We'll leave the discussion to you guys to understand why that was a suitable punishment for just another interesting administrative choice over there in Ann Arbor. But we'll move on. Oliver Nkumwa putting in 16-7. I hope I said that last name right. Pretty sure I did not. Terrace Reed, who we saw last year in these matchups, is a big piece down low for them. He's a load, could get some rebounds, defends well down there. But does shoot the ball from 3 decently, sitting at 37%, which is good for 33rd in the country. Terrence Williams shooting 42%, Will Shetter 59%, and Jalen Llewellyn 53%. They are towards the bottom of the country in terms of defending the three-point line, allowing teams to shoot 36% against them. So that could fare in Michigan State's favor if they can see a couple go down early and kind of get that thing rolling. Outside of Reed down low, they don't block many shots, so I think this should be an A.J. Hoggard game. Getting downhill, putting pressure on the guards and the bigs to stop the paint pressure. Would like to see Jay Nakins get going as well. Some nice backdoors with Malik, either at the wing or at the high post. Setting him up for some backdoors, also helping set up his corner threes, and hopefully taking off the pressure of him having to create every shot like we've seen in some games this year. I think this is a game that we could see a lot of Jackson Kohler, given Michigan's deficiencies in defending in the paint. I think we could see him, thrown out there, try to get something going down there. Would like to see some possibly more Xavier Booker numbers. I know everyone's been asking for it all year, but then we kind of seen what that story was and kind of backed off that a little bit. But he came out against Wisconsin, had a good impact, albeit in garbage time. But would like to see some more minutes there, especially against a weaker front court for Michigan. See if you can't get him rolling a little bit and see if things are maybe starting to turn the corner. Light switch going off with him there. And don't get me wrong, not asking for 20-plus minutes out of Jackson, 20-plus minutes out of Xavier Booker, but a decent 3 to 4 minute burst. Specifically here talking about Xavier Booker, maybe from the under 12 to the under 8 timeout. See if you can get Xavier in there and just kind of see what happens. I think he can pull those bigs out. So especially if Terrace Reed's in there and they're matched up against each other. Try to pull him out. See if you can get Terrace Reed out of the paint, and he's really their only paint presence to be worried about in terms of blocking shots and whatnot. So if you pull Xavier pick and pops out of the paint, that should open things up for the offense in terms of driving. In terms of Jackson Kohler, you know what you're getting from Maddie and Coop. So in my opinion, see if you can't get some offense because, frankly, Maddie and Coop, they do a lot of things, for the team, good and bad. But so obviously Jackson's still coming back from that injury. So would like to see, a steady increase in minutes for him. Just see if we can't get any offense produced out of the paint because he's really the only one down there that is producing anything offensively. But we're just not seeing it in long stretches. Obviously, that's probably because of coming back from injury, but would like to see some more of that as well. But that's not saying we want Coop and Maddie out of the rotation because when they are locked in and things are rolling, they are good defensively down there, grabbing rebounds, blocking shots, pick and rolls to the basket, finishing at the rim. As long as they get the ball at the rim and, we've seen the struggles, trying to enter the ball with actually holding on and catching the ball. We've seen that. So just being more specific with how we use our bigs and attacking is something I would like to see going forward. And started with this game. Bart Torvik still has MSU in the top 15, sitting at number 13. Michigan sitting at 79 currently. Obviously, MSU has not played like the 13th best team in the country, but this is, the computers across the board love them. We'll see if they can start living up to that as well. We've seen it in spurts, but we got to see it over here. MSU, they're going to be favored in 10 of their last 11 games. So we'll see if they can kind of keep this rolling. They did have a nice 3-game winning streak going into Wisconsin. So see if can pick that back up. The only game you won't be favored in the rest of the regular season is, of course, at Purdue. I think that at home against Illinois is a sketchy game as well. Not this upcoming Saturday, next Saturday. We'll see. Bart Torvik does have this as a 78-66 MSU win. By God, I hope they're all right. Also, last thing to note here, Coach Izzo is going for win number 700 versus rival at home, 9 p.m. tip. Oh yeah, and it's his 69th birthday. It's going to be a great atmosphere in the Brez tomorrow night, or tonight, whenever you're listening to this. Whenever you are listening to this. But yeah, a lot of emotion going to be in that building tomorrow. Let's just strap in. I know not going to be able to sleep tonight. Never do the night before this game. And I definitely feel this one a lot more than I do even the football side of this rivalry. But that'll do it. That'll do it. So we'll see you all on the other side, hoping for a MSU win. Let's get back on track and hopefully pick back up this win streak that we're supposed to be coming on to close out this season. But thank you all so much for watching. See you all in the next one.